Okay, first of all, tell us, what are we looking at here?
Looking at the diagram of the Denver International Airport.
We're looking at a diagram of the Denver International Airport. It's just a rough drawing that I drew when I was working out there. What you have here is the east gate entrance into the terminal area of the new DIA, and then the runways, the main runways, of course, in here. And then approximately 2.5 to 3 miles away from the large Teflon dome terminal, the other terminal, are a set of tunnels, underground tunnels, approximately 16 feet by 12 feet. They're square tunnels. They were supposedly to be used for sewer and water, but the tunnels are square and there's no water stop or anything like that that would be used in a tunnel to carry water. These tunnels were broken down into sections.
How many?
Approximately 5 to 6 sections per tunnel, coming from the main terminals to this set of 5 buildings that are constructed underground.
Okay. Let me ask you something here. We're talking about tunnels, 2 tunnels. The length is about 2.5 to 3 miles. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
How deep into the ground are these tunnels, would you say?
I would say approximately 25 to 30 feet down.
And okay, once you're in the tunnel, how wide, how high, how much space do you have in there? How big are they?
The tunnels themselves are 12 foot tall by 16 feet wide, and they're just a rectangular formed tunnel, and they're all the same size.
Okay, what usage would people give to these tunnels, especially at an airport?
We used to use them to walk through, and we used to put forklifts and other machinery down there to transport tools and such thing, materials.
Can you feed the truck in there?
Oh yeah, you could fit a bus in there if you wanted to. You could fit a small special-made bus. We made jokes while we were building these things out here, the set of buildings that I worked on, in which the tunnel's tied to, about how they could go from tunnel to tunnel with little bus loads of people all the way around the whole area.
Okay, well, now tell us about those 5 buildings you have there outlined.
The 5 buildings we have all have intersecting tunnels that go between them and then tie into the main terminal areas.
Okay, what's the purpose for these buildings, in your opinion, or why did these people, decided to build something underground? And how deep are they, first of all?
They range anywhere from 60 feet deep to 120 feet deep, these 5 buildings do.
Is this some kind of a storage facility, or? We
were told it was for sewer and for water waste out in the east area, these buildings, but they weren't constructed in that order, in that manner, to carry water. They have, and whenever you construct concrete buildings underground to hold water, you use water stop and Teflon coated rebar and a lot of other type materials. Instead we had no water stop, no Teflon type.
Let's hold on a second.
Hello.
Okay, let's continue here. You were saying that they told you these were for water?
For water and for sewer and sanitary waste and treatment out in here is what they said these buildings were all for. And they said that the tunnels that were coming over from the main terminals were going to be carrying the water and the sewer waste from the terminals out to these small buildings.
Okay. Now, this is a very important question here. I don't know if you want to tell us what construction company was in charge of this project, of the building of the tunnels, or the work being done in the tunnels and in these buildings underground.
These tunnels were split up between different companies. Not one company got more than one section of this tunnel.
Why do you think that is?
My reason is because they would start to get an overall picture of what they were really constructing across here. On most jobs this size, once a company is set up and sets up one section of tunnel, then they're already in progress of going all the way across. So it's easier for them to go ahead and continue with the contract all the way through than to bring in another company on each section. And it's very, very peculiar that they would be split up in that many sections with that many different type of companies doing the work.
So this was, in your opinion, doing on purpose, so the companies or the people working there would not know what was going on.
Nobody would know what was going on through here. Nobody would be able to get an overall picture of what was happening. The company that did all of these buildings out here didn't get any of these tunnel contracts.
Okay. Another question, besides what you...
The top of all of these two long runways. When we were working on these buildings, we saw them covering up these runways out here, and we asked questions what was going on with these runways. They said they poured them in the wrong place.
Huh.
But how can you miss runways by 2 miles?
That's a good question.
2 to 3 miles, how can you miss runways? Usually, when something is poured in the wrong place, it's also R&R. That means it's taken out of the ground. You don't bury it. You don't bury mistakes.
So they buried these.
These were buried with a 4-inch cap of dirt along with these buildings here. And it looks like to me, from what I could tell, the beginning of these runways from there to these buildings here is approximately half a mile. In my opinion, I think the large amounts of people would be coming in on these runways.
Right, they come to the
Federal
airport.
Water takes control. Once the money system fails, which you're starting to see around the world everywhere, the last place to fall will be the United States. That's the last place that they'll have to take people. They have too many radicals here with guns, patriots, freedom fighters and such. They will bring them into the center point, which the center point of the United States can go to Europe, can go to the Middle East.
Okay.
This point here, they can bring them in, shuttle them over to the distribution center, shuttle them over to the other 2 runways, and send them off to whatever concentration camp for permanent keeping, such as Alaska, Montana.
Do you think that there is more construction underground at the new Denver International Airport?
There's an area to the south of this, which is also approximately 2.5 to 3 miles away from the main runway and DIA Teflon Dome terminals, where there was a lot of activity going on. They were always driving up so much dust and dirt out here, we couldn't see exactly what each other was doing at much time. We couldn't see much more than 100 yards ahead of us because of the dirt and the dust out there. But there were men working out here for a long time, I'd say 2 years, with heavy amounts of dirt up on the bank. That means they were deep down into the ground doing work out there. Now this area is covered completely. There's nothing to be shown out there. It's been restored to its natural look, just like this area out in here was.
What do you have on the surface where those 5 buildings are?
Dirt.
What's there?
Dirt. Right now there's just dirt, and now it's got grass and sage started to grow back up on all of this area out here. They put enough topsoil on top of everything to where you cannot see it from the air.
Can we say that some kind of secret task force that belongs to the government is behind all of this planning, construction, and secret